We call it people technology.
Back it is then, in better times, in a much better mood. Here we are again on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout to pick up from where the action left off in May. It's time for the Indian Premier League to resume its 2021 edition, and it is a fixture that is synonymous with the razzmatazz that the IPL brings with it. Chennai versus Mumbai is where our attention lies. Toss has already happened in Dubai, and Sanjay Manjrekar and Dale Steyn have reunited. So much has happened in these months that the IPL was called off. We had a World Test Championship where these two were together. Dale Steyn was an active cricketer when the IPL happened. Now he's a very satisfied and well-retired cricketer, and back he is from the forests of Namibia. Dale, good to have you. Happy retirement, and it's so good to be back in the studio, the virtual studio of the IPL.
Yeah, thank you. This is actually so now this is the official job that I've got as a retired cricketer. This is day one of work for me, the start of something new. So yeah, very excited. And yeah, thanks guys. I got a lot of praise over the last couple of weeks since the announcement and all the messages. But yeah, very happy to be back and talking about the game that I love the most. So yeah, looking forward to it.
And Ronak, let's take some credit for this decision because he spent some time with us, right, before he retired.
Yes,
and he realized, this is a pretty good company to keep. And that may have hastened his decision. That's what I think.
Absolutely.
Either that,
I'm not going to lie.
Either that or he heard Sanjay Manjrekar go hard at players and he felt, I can't do this to myself again. This is what the former players look at us as. No, I can't subject myself to this, this analysis, this ruthless analysis. So yes, but
me and hard. What are you talking about?
Never. You are not one, Sanjay. All right, let's talk about the game itself. Wonderful to have Sanjay Manjrekar and Dale Steyn. And surprising news, if you're following, of course, on ESPN Cricket 4 or on Star Sports here in India and our part of the world, that Rohit Sharma didn't make his way to the toss. So clearly, some trouble for the Mumbai Indians captain. I wanted to start this show, Sanjay, the heir apparent versus the mentor of the T20 World Cup. And what not as in my script, I have to throw it away now because Kieron Pollard is captaining. But that's a big one because Mumbai Indians without Rohit Sharma, I mean, that's always a big miss.
And Anmol Preet was given the cap by Tendulkar, so it seems like he might be playing in place of Rohit Sharma. Now, he hasn't come out for the toss, so I'm assuming he's not in the playing 11.
Yeah.
Maybe resting or maybe taking some time, Ronak, to get his mind into T20 gear because he was so deep into the test match, psyche that it might take a little while. Kidding. But yeah, interesting.
Yep, very interesting. We do know that he didn't quite field for the extent of the Oval Test as well towards the end. We didn't end up seeing a Manchester Test, so there were some troubles for Rohit Sharma towards the end of that England series. Kieron Pollard, though, is quite an able and well-respected T20 leader, not to mention a successful captain, Dale, in the CPL, in his short time in the IPL too. There's something about Pollard, the captain, that perhaps the IPL is starved of, but he's a pretty good replacement.
Yeah, and he's been at Mumbai for years. So he knows all the players. He kind of knows how to run the show, I'm pretty certain that Rohit would always go to somebody like a Pollard and say to him, what's your opinion on this or what's your opinion on that? So if you were going to give it to anybody, Pollard is probably the next best bet. And he's done it all. He's won World Cups. I think he's won CPLs. He's won IPLs. He knows all the players. And like I said, he's been at Mumbai forever. So yeah, he'll step up as captain. They won't really have a big loss there in terms of that space. But Rohit not opening the batting will leave a little hole for them because he is a real miss along in their top. They definitely need him there.
They're also without Hardik Pandya, so that doesn't help either. That's two key players that are missing for the Mumbai Indians at the start of the second half of the IPL. And Chennai won the toss to further perhaps put the advantage against them. They're going to have a bat first. We did look ahead to this game, Sanjay, and you did say this was the trend. Teams liked batting first, and perhaps there is some sort of advantage to winning the toss at this early stage of the tournament.
Only the data shows that, but I don't know. I had a look at the pitch, the Dasgupta and Sunil Gavaskar, were doing the pitch report on Star Sports, and Gavaskar said that this is a delight for fast bowlers. There's going to be nothing there for the spin bowlers. So you would think, that if you believe that you have quality fast bowlers, why not have a crack at the opposition with your bowlers and try and get a couple of early wickets, especially, Mumbai Indians against CSK. If you get a couple of early wickets, that could be the logic. But the data is overwhelmingly sort of telling you that you have to bat first in the early stage of the IPL in the UAE, almost 80% win percentage when you bat first. So I guess teams have looked at that more seriously.
It's exactly the day that Chennai and Mumbai kicked off the 2020 IPL. And that's when
Hmm.
Ambati Rayudu played that extraordinary innings in a chase. But that was a bit of an anomaly. We did see teams batting first
Yeah.
do better in the UAE in the last IPL. Mumbai Indians, though, have had a strange sort of season. They still find themselves in the top four as this IPL resumes now in September. But they lost their opening game. They then won two. They then lost two. They then won two again. It's not quite a story that made sense. But if you just want a quick recap, let's have a look at how Mumbai Indians did in the first half.
Champions in both 2019 and 2020, Mumbai Indians were not as dominant in IPL 2021 and are currently sitting in the last of the playoff spots. They go into the second half of the tournament as the only team with no squad changes.
I feel that I think they're going to finish in the top four. Probably they can even finish in the top two. I don't see that there is any danger because they've got such an attack, they've got such a squad, they've got all the players available. I think they're still the favourites, irrespective of what their position is.
What worked for them first was the opening partnership between Rohit Sharma and Quinton de Kock. They had 3 stands of 49 or more, and Mumbai won all 3 of those games. Mumbai lost the least wickets in the power play, just 5 across 7 games, and so had a solid base to build on in almost every match. The man providing the finishes down the order was Kieron Pollard. He took 2 Player of the Match awards for his 35 not out of 22 balls against Sunrisers Hyderabad and then an outstanding 87 not out of 34 balls against CSK. On the bowling side, the biggest plus for Mumbai was the form of Rahul Chahar. With 11 scalps in 7 games, he was the tournament's most incisive spinner and he went at just 7.21 an over. Mumbai's biggest issue in the first half of IPL 2021 was that apart from Pollard, no one stepped up in the middle and lower order. The Pandya brothers and Ishan Kishan had few innings of note, and Mumbai lost too many wickets at the death, scoring at just 8.7 between overs 17 and 20, the second lowest among all teams.
They played a lot of cricket at Chipok. It was the easiest to bat in the first 6 overs, but was toughest to bat in the second half of the innings. But now, obviously, when the tournament has shifted to UAE, things will get easier, and they've done really well in the last edition when they played in UAE. So I'm sure they're going to take a lot of confidence there as well.
One decision Mumbai have to make is what to expect of their 4th overseas player. While de Kock, Pollard and Trent Bolt are fixtures in the side, they chopped and changed the other overseas quick, with Marco Jansen, Adam Milne and Nathan Coulter-Nile all being tried, and Jimmy Neesham playing 1 game as an all-rounder.
Right, that is what lies ahead for the Mumbai Indians. Now defending champions, formidable team, most successful in the tournament, but they're going to be facing Chennai. Chennai was actually the last one in the first half. Iconic game at Delhi, Kieron Pollard classic. And as it turns up, now they still got to play Bangalore and Delhi. The rest of those teams seem to be struggling on their own. You think Mumbai Indians still good enough to make that top 4 spot. But Dale, as we had that recap, a couple of things that, of course, come to mind. One, that Rohit Sharma and Quinton de Kock was a successful part of their campaign. No Rohit Sharma today. And all eyes were on Hardik Pandya. We wanted to see what we see of Hardik Pandya before the World Cup as well. He's not playing either. How does that tilt the scales for you?
Yeah, he's a big player. He's a massive player. I mean, obviously he didn't step up in the first half of the IPL. You can see his average was low, his strike rate wasn't there. But we were talking about him the entire IPL, the entire part of that IPL, and just saying he just needed one innings to get him going. And he got out in some freakish ways. I remember him coming out and like first ball flicking one down long on's throat, and he got out in some weird ways. But he is a big miss for them. And a break is like this kind of break could have done him really well. He could have settled his mind a little bit, found some form, whether it be in the nets or just mentally just getting a little bit of a refresh button really, and coming back to this half the IPL ready and a completely different player. So it's a pity that he's not playing today, but he was also a big loss. But if you had to carry on from from the way that he was performing from the first half. He's the kind of player that you want him to do well, but how many
Yeah.
more chances do you give him scoring at that kind of, and not bowling, before you make a change? But he's that kind of player. He's so good. You just can't leave him out of the team. So I'm assuming that there's something wrong, like an injury or something like that right now.
Yeah, the one thing is these franchises never tell us anything before the start of the tournament of the game. They should be telling us when there are injuries. Otherwise, I can't understand. Hardik Pandya, who's not been part of the Indian team in England, he's had a little break, but for whatever reason, not fit or available for this game, Sanjay. And Saurabh Tiwari gets a game. But if you felt this was an important 2 weeks for Hardik Pandya, the T20 cricketer going into the World Cup, wasn't it?
Yes, and in the past as well, we have sort of assumed that somebody's injured or dropped, and then we come to know it's the other way around. So I don't know how much we can talk about Hardik Pandya's exclusion as to why he's been dropped. But just to sort of go back to Hardik Pandya in India, I think the pitches were on the slow side. Mumbai Indians played a lot in Chennai, and that is something that he doesn't love. He loves the ball coming onto the bat, but wonder what the reason is. But Saurabh Tiwari is their go-to man. Whenever there is a spot available, he's the man that they go to. And I saw the cap being given to Anmol Preet Singh. Now that is interesting, where he's got an excellent first-class record, but not numbers that cries out as him being an exceptional T20 player. So maybe this is one of those cases where I've been advocating getting seasoned first-class batters who have a good first-class record to withstand the pressure, in an IPL T20 format, instead of just going for those mavericks who have some good, innings in the T20 league. So let's see how Anmol Preet Singh goes.
Yeah, best wishes to him. It's his first game. Would it surprise either of you to know Saurabh Tiwari is 31? That's it. He seems like he's been around a long time. Good old Saurabh Tiwari. I guess it doesn't surprise either of you. Well, it doesn't surprise me that Adam Milne, who after playing just one game in the first half of the tournament, finds a place in this one. And perhaps that break could have, if it's done wonders for some players, Dale, one of those is Adam Milne, leading wicket taker in the 100, the only bowler to go at less than a run a ball. We could likely see a lot more of Adam Milne in this half of the tournament.
Definitely. We watched him in the 100. I watched him in the 100 and he looked amazing. And obviously everybody else has been watching him in the 100, and that's exactly why he's gotten the nod tonight straight away. And you look at those numbers, he's going at less than a run a ball. That's ridiculous. Wickets, just a strike force. Slightly different conditions in England. He probably got the ball to swim a little bit more. We'll see what it's like tonight. In these conditions versus what he would have experienced in the 100, but a great player nonetheless. He's quick through the air, bowls a good Yorker, skitty bouncer. He's played enough 2020 cricket to be able to adapt, and he's on a bit of form. He's in a little bit of a purple patch, as they say. So good to have him in that side for them tonight.
I like how our producer has gone with the conventional stats to represent Adam Milne at the 100, not the runs per ball or everything else that sort of came. But anyway, this, Sanjay, you think is a more solid Mumbai side where they bank on their overseas combination as Quinton de Kock, Kieron Pollard, and the two overseas fast bowlers. It could be Bolt and Coulter-Nile, it could have been Malinga in the past. But if Milne gets it right, you think this is the better balanced Mumbai side?
Yes, it is. And, their problem hasn't been so much seam bowling. That has been all right. And Rahul Char's growth also as a spinner has been good. Krunal Pandya is a bit of a worry. But as instead said, their batting hasn't quite fired. Pollard bailed them out a couple of times. I remember in Chennai when they batted first and just managed 140 and 150, but they were still able to win those games, which was unexpected. So their problem has been batting, specifically Ishan Kishan was a surprise, in the first half of the IPL, how he completely seems to have lost confidence and he scratched around. The numbers also bailed that out. But bowling-wise, to answer your question, bowling looks pretty good now.
Yeah, I think Ishan Kishan, in fact, found himself out of the team for the last 2 games that they played in Delhi. That's a while back now. Seems like they've gone back to what they believe is their best side, albeit no Rohit Sharma and Hardik Pandya, you'd think, surely because of injury. The Chennai Super Kings, they were a surprise package. Mumbai were busy struggling in Chennai. Chennai were busy winning in Mumbai in the first half of the IPL. And here they are now in a very fine position to make the top 2 even. If you want a recap of how MS Dhoni's side bounced back from what they were in 2020, here's how they did in 2021.
After their poor 2020 season, CSK bounced back and are currently second in the IPL 2021 table. They will have pretty much the same squad in the second half, with the only change being Josh Hazelwood returning for Jason Behrendorff.
Look, they've got themselves into a position where they can actually afford to start a little slow. They have the experience probably to handle any situation, and they're in a very good situation at the moment. So I feel that they will definitely try and finish at the top.
So what changed for CSK between 2020 and 2021? The batting improved massively. CSK got 6 170 plus scores compared to 4 in the whole of 2020. And a lot of their runs came in the middle overs. CSK lost just 6 wickets in power plays, ensuring they had a base to accelerate in the middle overs where they scored faster than any other side. Faf du Plessis led the charge, scoring 450s. He's currently the third highest run getter in the season with 320 runs. Another driving force behind CSK's success were the performances of their all-rounders, Sam Curran, Moeen Ali and Ravindra Jadeja. Curran was the side's highest wicket taker with 9 scalps, while Moeen and Jadeja both went at less than 7 and over. Moeen and Jadeja got a 50 each, Jadeja's a match-winning contribution against RCB. With the ball, CSK have struck up front in most games. Their 13 wickets in the power play is the best in the league, with Deepak Chahar accounting for 8 of those, but they have conceded at a higher rate than other teams early. The biggest concern for CSK was the form of stalwarts MS Dhoni and Suresh Raina. Both Thala and Chinna Thala, as they are known, struggled to score quickly, putting pressure on du Plessis, young Rituraj Gaikwad and the all-rounders.
I think we need to realize that MS probably will play as a keeper and a mentor rather than as a batter who would finish off games. That is what we've seen in the first half of the tournament as well. He actually promoted Moeen Ali to bat at number 3. Had there been any other captain, he would have been tempted to continue with Suresh Raina at number 3. But I think form is very important as well, and how to use that form. MS has shown that.
The other shortcoming was the seam bowling support for Chahar and Curran. Shardul Thakur and Lungi Ngidi both went at more than 10 and over through the season. And Dwayne Bravo struggled to find consistency too, which meant CSK's seamers were the second most expensive in the tournament as a group. With the IPL moving to the UAE, CSK will have to adjust their strategy to get rid of the demons of 2020 when they finished 7th.
Position that's in the right half of the table, and then you've got CSK play teams that seem to be struggling just a bit. Right, what we have seen from the team that is being fielded today by MS Dhoni is that Sam Curran, we knew he's not completed his quarantine, he's not available, but Josh Hazelwood returns to CSK's playing 11. Sanjay, that's interesting. He didn't play the first half of the IPL. Here he is back now. Bravo gets a game as well. Faf du Plessis is fit, and Moeen Ali seems to have almost changed this team single-handedly. Josh Hazelwood, that's how do you make of what do you make of this CSK team now?
Good. I think it's a surface call, as in they've looked at the surface and they believe that Hazel would exploit the surface more than somebody like a Lungi and Giri. So I think it's a good call. Surprised that Bravo is in the team because I heard that he may have issues bowling. So I'm a little surprised. But Moeen Ali walks in. The great news for CSK is that Faf du Plessis is fit. There was that groin injury that was a bit of a concern, so he's made it, and that puts the Gaikwad Faf du Plessis combination at the top unchanged. And I love the curtain raiser for this game, and this familiar problem that CSK have had. That hopefully they'll expect that to be addressed. But surprised that they've gone for Bravo despite a doubt over his complete fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't see him bowl for the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots in a successful CPL campaign. The only other option you think for that role would have been Mitch Santner. Dale, would you think Sam Curran would just come back and take that spot from Bravo? Do you see a seamer, frontline seamer, overseas seamers, MS Dhoni's go-to guy for this day of the tournament now? Because he seemed to like the idea of Bravo and Curran in the first half. It just deepened that batting lineup. Do you think someone like Hazelwood can have a big part to play?
Yeah, I think Hazelwood brings something to the party. He's tall. Every time I've seen him play for CSK, he's kind of done pretty well. Bowls a good Yorker, good bouncer. So, yeah, he's a good option. I think Curran, once he's fit and he's ready to play again, they'll pick him straight away. He's scored runs the appeal in the first half. He was, if it wasn't for him in some occasions, because Dhoni wasn't quite scoring the runs and neither was Rayner, Sam Curran kind of came in and did a great job. So I think Dhoni will have that in the back of his mind, that he'll know as soon as Sam's available, he'll just want to whip him back in. We know what kind of captain Dhoni is. He likes those kind of players. And now you can hear my dogs barking in the background.
I was wondering where they were. Yeah.
I'm the
But,
odd person
look,
out in this panel who doesn't have a
Yeah.
pet at
But
home.
your son's got
gotta
one,
get
your
one in the-
grandson, as you posted on Instagram. Your grandson is there now in
Yes.
in the West. Yes, Dale, carry on,
Yes.
please.
Well, I was just looking at that CSK team, and it looks like a great side. It's amazing. You know, all of those guys, a lot of those guys in good form. Faf is in good form. I think he made the CPL team of the tournament, and he'll be on a bit of a mission to score runs. Not being selected for South Africa to go to that World Cup. He'll want to send out a message that if he's the top run scorer in this IPL, that South Africa and the Proteas have made a big mistake in not selecting him. So he'll want to continue that form from the IPL, from the first half, and from what he's continued from the CPL. So look out for somebody like Faf to go on and score big runs.
Yeah, I'd like that you say that. I'd love to sort of carry on that chat on Faf du Plessis because, well, I don't know about the bowlers, you'd know better, but the South African batters seem to just keep defying this whole age and runs equation. AB de Villiers, now Faf du Plessis, you've played so much with. I don't follow as much of South Africa's T20 international cricket. It does look like they said they don't think there's place for a Faf du Plessis in it. Were you surprised when that announcement came in? Do you think he still merits a place in that South African side? Still looks the part, doesn't he, Faf du Plessis, Dale?
Definitely. I mean, from what I know is that he retired from Test cricket and continued to be available in white ball cricket for South Africa. However, they had to find a balance between playing tournaments outside South Africa, like the IPL and the CPL, etc., and then still being available to play for the Proteas to kind of be selected. And those kind of conversations that took place between Faf and the Proteas staff, I'm not aware of what those conversations were. But what I do know is that if AB de Villiers is available, they would grab him with both hands. So you've got to play the same cards with somebody like a Faf and an Imran, Chris Morris. These are the biggest players in the IPL. They're the guys that are going to the IPL. They've been selected out of South Africa to go to the biggest tournament in the world. And if the biggest tournaments in the world believe that these guys are good enough to play in their teams, then surely South Africa should be having better conversations with these guys to try and get them to the World Cup.
Sanjay, there's still he's still a story of success in the IPL after Shane Watson and what he did for Chennai. Faf du Plessis and now Moeen Ali seem to be massive players in the success story of CSK if it is to happen this season.
And nothing more to add from what Dale Steyn has said about Faf du Plessis and his selection for South Africa. It's bordering on ridiculous that he's not in that particular team, but I'm not privy to what discussions would have happened. But Faf du Plessis, more than AB de Villiers, looks more match fit and more match ready. So, it's a strange call. But for CSK, I mean, Faf du Plessis has been amazing. He plays the important knocks. Forget about just the first half where the numbers, the aggregate runs are there. The strike rate is very high. Even in the earlier seasons, he's played some crucial innings for them in the playoffs. So he's a guy who can mold his game according to the needs. He can, if they want to chase 130 or 140 on a difficult pitch, he can anchor the innings and get you there. And if you need the big game as well, he's not somebody who's going to be really struggling to get power into his game. So Faf du Plessis is brilliant for CSK, somebody that you want to have. And Moeen Ali has been a revelation, with CSK batting at the top of the order. He's a fantastically talented player. England just haven't been able to get everything out of it. But fortunately, we saw some terrific innings from him, the first half.
I tell you what, there are administrators in many parts of the world that are trying to outdo each other in terms of the nonsense that's happening with teams going into the World Cup. So you've got South Africa, you've got India with a lot of noise off the field these days. Pakistan have changed the backroom staff and whatnot recently. So they're all trying to be in the news.
The lockdown effect, Ronak, all of us have gone slightly mad.
Yeah. I mean, you're being kind, Sanjay. You have a friend, aren't you? Conflicted in interest. Your good friend Ramesh Raja finds himself as PCB chairman. Dale Steyn, I don't know how many you friends you've got in cricket South Africa, but I can imagine there'll be a few. But anyway, right. Let's break
The
away.
prime minister of that nation is also a friend.
Oh yes, you'd love to. You'd like to remind us about that.
Yeah.
So Sanjay's connections go way high. Anyway, let's bring our attention back to the game at hand. And before we do get there, there's something that we've launched in recent days. It's actually a wonderful initiative for anyone who craves cricketing wisdom, stats, obsessed with your numbers. And yet, if you want to find a specific query, there's no better place than Ask Cricinfo. You need to check it out if you haven't already. It's truly something that'll satisfy you as a cricket fan. And I hope Sanjay Manjrekar and Dale Steyn have done that, because I'm going to quiz Dale Steyn on something that Ask Cricinfo can help us with. Let me see if Dale Steyn can help us with these numbers at the top of his head. Any idea, Dale,
Okay.
what your record, or rather what MS Dhoni's record versus Dale Steyn is in the IPL? Any idea what those numbers might look like? All right, I need you to unmute. Yeah, let's try that again. Yeah, I think you're muted. All right, we've lost Dale Steyn. I mean, come on. I'm plugging the Ask Cricinfo. It's running up and fine with no glitches, but we'll just plug Dale Steyn back in just a second. Sanjay, you have checked this feature out a little. Impressed by what we have to offer?
No, absolutely. And this is what a cricketing platform should be, isn't it? Just about cricket, entertain through cricket, and numbers are something that I've always found fascinating. And, there's some revelations that come through, like the other day, who's got the best record against Lasith Malinga in T20 internationals, and Marlon Samuel's name came up. So these are the kind of things that, make the game more interesting. And if you think you know everything with regard to data and whatever, you're always surprised by what can be unearthed. And now that you have three formats, it gets even better.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, of course, something that's for the moment, it covers you for T20 cricket. We're hoping it covers you for white ball cricket and red ball cricket in the future. But Dale, are you back with us? Hear me loud and clear?
I think so. Yeah,
Yes,
that sounds
excellent.
better. I think.
We can hear
So
you.
let's get back to this. MS Dhoni versus Dale Steyn in the IPL. I'm going to ask Cricinfo, but let me ask you first. Anything what the record might look like? Any idea?
It's dangerous, is all I'm going to say, and it's in MS's favor. That's all I'm going to say.
I think, James,
no,
from memory, I remember there were one or two big overs that he had against you. Maybe one I remember, and maybe there could have been another one. That's it. That's all I remember.
Whether that I firmly remember two. I firmly remember two. One was in Bangalore. We won that game off the last ball, just by the way, by a run out. What's his name was bowling? Yadav was bowling. And PP threw the stumps down, got a run out.
Yeah.
We got one by one run. So it's fine. I did my job, That's what I had to do previous over.
Well, Chinnaswamy Stadium was not easy. Come on, we all know that.
Bowler's graveyard.
His life. But we're at Ask Cricinfo. We're trying to figure out Dale Steyn versus MS Dhoni in the IPL. So let's see. Let's ask Cricinfo and see what happens there. And all you need to do is just get on to Ask Cricinfo, and this query will be answered for you. Let's see how that goes. Dale Steyn's told us that it's going to be in favor of MS, and it'll look dangerous.
Oh, dangerous. Big time.
All right, there we go. Batting strike rate of 188. You've got 7 sixes in 59 balls faced and 111 runs. So that's what we've got. You've also got a couple of things over there in terms of average, which MS Dhoni's isn't bad at all. And Steyn has dismissed Dhoni twice. Not bad, Dale. You got that.
At least I got him out. I do remember Amrit Mishra dropping him in Chennai. I bowled him a bouncer and he got dropped in Chennai. And then after that, he took me down again. And I was like, see, these things, people don't forget these things. I don't forget that drop catch. Yeah. But stats don't lie. He's a great finisher of the game. And especially when he's going, he's tough to stop. MS. Hopefully we see more of that tonight when he's playing.
It's brilliant also, Ronak, that you had that thing going there, and Dale Steyn is right next to it, while you're revealing all those stats. So it must be a treat for fans that looking at, a couple of legends and how their performances, and one of them is with us. So
absolutely. Fair point. And like you pointed out, there are things that you find out. So even the players themselves who have been part of these records, they find out when Ask Cricinfo helps them out with these queries. So just head over to espncricinfo.com or download the app, and you will find Ask Cricinfo servicing a lot of your your cricket needs. Right. Thank you very much, Dale Steyn, Sanjay Manjrekar. Let's pick up this chat at the end of 20 overs time. First ball already underway. Mumbai v CSK. It's a cracking game. And we will be with Dale and Sanjay on Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 timeout at halftime. Join us then.
Thank you.
We call it people technology.